Welcome to Crafty Chemist Designs. Today I have a great project for you. But first, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to this channel so that you are alerted every time I drop a new video. On to the project. This video is part of a monthly card making hop hosted by Valley Oak Paper. Stencil All the Things is the theme for August 2025. Find more inspiration in the videos listed below in the description. The theme of this YouTube hop is stencils, and I had an idea in my mind what I wanted to teach, and that was how to make your own bokeh paper. The problem was I didn't have a stencil that had circles on it, so I decided to make my own stencil. So let me show you how I did that. Use my stamp cut and emboss machine by Stampin' Up. And then I'm just going to use some circle dies and I'm going to randomly put these on this cardstock. My cardstock I cut at 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. The size of an A2 card front. Okay. I don't want it to be too symmetric, so I'm just going to run this through maybe one more time. Maybe 2 more times. Okay. This is what it looks like. Move this. So these are going to be my stencils. The next thing that you will need are some ink pads that go well together. I'm using 3 of the new 2025-2027 ink colors: Darling Duckling, Timid Tiger, and Strawberry Slush. And then you need some blending brushes, and I have a yellow, a pink, and an orange brush. And then a piece of cardstock. This is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. I will be cutting this down to 4 by 5 1/4 to fit on a card front, but you want it to be a little bit bigger than what you want the finished product to be, because around the edges you will get a dark line, and I'll point that out as we go along. So let me get my Darling Duckling. I'm going to start with the lightest color. So let's get the yellow, kind of test it out. Okay, so you notice I am using a paper mat below so that we can start by inking off and then onto the cardstock. So what you want to do is start off the page like this and work your way up to the center, because if you don't, you're going to get a big, like see how I have the big mark right there in the center? You don't want that on your card. So I'm going to turn it and go from the next corner. And again, I'm always starting from off the page to on the cardstock. Okay, there's my yellow. Glue that off a little bit. Let's see. Let's do the orange next. This is Timid Tiger. Okay. And see how that makes that marking there? You want to kind of avoid that. So now let's go on this opening part. Now you see how the edges are getting a little dark? That's why we made it a little bit bigger than what we want the card base to be, so that we can kind of remove that. Okay, continue. You can make it as light or as dark as you want. I'm going to go back over this a little bit. Okay, and then the last spot here. And you want to keep swirling as you go. Okay, I'm going to kind of go over it a little bit, kind of mix a little bit. Not too much, but now we have one more color. Okay. Let's get all that yellow orange off. And then the last color is Strawberry Slush. This is kind of a deep color. Just gonna clean my brush off. I don't know what was on it previously, so okay. Get some of that Strawberry Slush on. And then I'm just going to come in and add a little bit of pink, the Strawberry Slush here and there. Not going to try and cover up the yellow, but I do want to get some pink in there. I'm really loving this look. Okay, and now let's kind of just blend it all together. Okay, clean this off a little bit. Okay, I'm going to turn this over. And put on my stencil that I created. Now I don't have another blending brush for white, but you need some kind of white, like pigment-based ink. This is White Daisy from Close to My Heart, so I'm going to use this and just have this dedicated to white. And so what I'm going to do is go into these circles and clean it off before you put it back on the white, so it doesn't get your white ink pad colored, and go over these circles. Okay. You could use some washi tape and tape this down, but I'm just kind of holding it as I'm doing each circle. Okay, now let's see how this looks. Wow, looks beautiful. Okay, now you want to go over it again. You can move this around, you know, like this. If you want. You want to try and get into the open spaces, and it's even good to have it go off the edge like this. And overlap some. That's when you start getting this three-dimensional effect. Okay. Just making that so it doesn't have so much of the around the edges. Okay, let's see. We need something here. Let's put another bigger one up here. What do I think? Maybe something right there? I think that looks pretty good. Maybe something right there. Just a little bit. Okay. Wow, look how amazing that is. Now let's turn this into a card. For the card base, I think I'm going to use Timid Tiger. And let's cut this at 5.5. And fold it in half. You could score it first if you want to. Okay, so this is going to be my base. I am going to cut this down a little bit. I'm going to cut about a 1/4 inch off. So really I'm going to take an 1/8 of an inch off all the way around. Just to get that, the dark edges, although mine really isn't too bad. You do want to kind of be careful because this is a little bit wet. That white pigment ink takes some time to dry. You could set it with a heat gun. Okay, so this is 4 by 5.25. Let's adhere this to the card base. Okay, beautiful. Now let's decorate it. I was thinking about using the beautiful butterflies because for some reason this reminds me of a butterfly. Should I just use that? This is the embossed folder. Let me see how it looks if I just cut a piece. If I just cut the butterfly. You know what? I think I'm going to just use the big one because I really want that bokeh to show. Okay, so I am going to adhere this right down on the card because it would be really hard to pop that up with all the small pieces. I will maybe pop up where it says a note. Okay, I've got some Stampin' Dimensionals here. I'm just using the edge pieces. Use every last bit of those. Okay, let me see about making the center butterfly. Okay, I think the butterfly needs his little body, so I'm thinking the black to contrast would be really nice. So I think here's his body. We've got two for the smaller ones, but let's try it with the black. Does it fit on this piece? Yes, it will. Okay, here we go. And I'm just going to put him on here. Let's see. Yeah, that looks good. What do you think? I think this could use some gems. So I am using the 2025-2027 ink color flat pearls. And let's see about the strawberry slush color. There we go. I think that finishes it off. Let's create a little white piece for the inside. This is 4 by 5 1/4. You could stamp a sentiment on the inside, but since I wrote a note, I'm going to leave it blank. I hope you enjoyed the project. The products seen in the video can be purchased at my website, thecraftychemist.stampinup.net. I have a Facebook group, Crafty Chemist Designs, where I go live and do demos every Sunday. I also have a Facebook VIP group, The Crafty Chemist Presents Stampin' Up. Find me on Instagram at Crafty Chemist Designs, TikTok at Crafty Chemist Designs, YouTube at Crafty Chemist Designs, and my blog, periodicallycrafty.blogspot.com.